Welcome to the Alchemy of Ascension podcast. I'm your host, Waxela Sananda, and today I'm so lucky because I have back Daniel Scranton. Welcome, Daniel.
Hi, it's great to be here.
Yeah, so this is our third time together, and every time it's a lot of fun. And, what I've found is that the Alchemy of Ascension community loves you and loves what you share and loves what you do. And they're always asking to hear more from you. So I'm really glad you wanted to come on again and share some more today.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I love sharing my gift.
Yeah, and you're so good at it and so unique. And I think that's one of the things that really strikes people. People remember you. You're what you do, your channeling comes through so pure and in such a clear, pure way. And also it's, the frequencies and the sounds and things are memorable. And so people oftentimes, when I ask at the end, I usually do a survey of every summit, what stuck out for you? What was memorable? What was your favorite thing? Many people mention that they remember you and that they're really drawn to your work. And so that's also why you have such a big following and you're really good at what you do. So for starters, I'd love to share with everyone your view on, and this might be unique to you, but your specific style of channeling. What is it and how does it work?
Okay. Well, when I first started, all I knew to do was because no one taught me how to do it. All I knew was that there was this energy present and it was moving me around. And it was moving me in weird ways like this. And if I look at old videos of myself, I can still kind of see these weird faces I was making because the energy is intense and your body has to acclimate to it. And over time, it does. And over time, you sort of remember also how to subconsciously translate that energy into something that other people can understand and benefit from. So initially, all I would have to do is go, okay, I'm going to channel. And then there'd be some of that. And then the group that I now call the creators, they didn't come through initially and say, hey, we're the creators. They came in and said, we are here for you. And I immediately, like everybody else, was doubting what I was saying after that. The we are here for you part, I knew I didn't come up with that. I knew that was like something that came out of me unexpectedly. But then everything after that, I was in doubt. So I actually started to squash it down. And it would take me 10 minutes from the time I intended to channel to speak those words, we are here for you. And all kinds of things were coming through me. First, they were saying, sing and ring and sing, sing and ring and sing, sing and ring and sing. And that was a message to me I later figured out to go and take voice lessons, which I eventually did. Then they would speak, after I got that clue, then they would speak light language over and, for long stretches, light language. And I felt bad for the people I was channeling for because they'd be sitting there for 10 minutes and sometimes they would just start a conversation amongst themselves while they're waiting for me to actually bring through the creators saying, we are here for you. So the way that it's evolved since then. So obviously, now it's depending on whom I'm channeling. It could be 2 minutes, it could be 3 minutes. It could be 1 minute, that it's this preamble of sounds that come through that are not me coming up with. Like I didn't decide E was a good sound to make. It was like, that's just what comes through my mouth when I'm bringing through the Arcturians. And then these tones, which the toning started, I'm going to say, a year and a half after I was already channeling the creators almost every day. So it's not like I need to make sounds to be able to channel, but there's something about the sounds that help people to be prepared for the channeling that they're about to receive, because they're about to receive not just a message, but they're about to receive an energetic transmission, and they need to be on a high enough frequency bandwidth to be able to receive everything. And I think that's why it comes through in that way, why the tones and everything are necessary. And the tones, the other interesting thing about the tones is that there's overtones in the tone. So there's a bass tone and there's an overtone. And I did not know how to make those, but I had learned about overtones from Wendy Kennedy's channeled Pleiadians, who I was a huge follower of at the time. And so I asked my voice coach, can you teach me how to do this? And she said, no. And the next thing I know, the creators then are coming through with overtones in their little preamble to their "We Are Here For You." So it all happened very organically. And now that just is the way that the Arcturians and everybody else that I channel, there's slightly different tones for different beings that come through me in that beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. I had wondered about that. Is it, my question kind of was, is it an alignment for you personally to be able to receive them? But what you're saying is it's actually, and there might be an element of that, but it's actually for everyone listening, that they are aligning to the frequencies that are coming through so that they can receive a greater transmission that you're bringing through. That's interesting.
I agree,
and that makes sense.
Me too, like you said, I do agree that a lot of times I'm coming into the channeling having just had a conversation with my wife, or having just had my lunch, or whatever, a phone call. And so I'm not just sitting around all day meditating, and then it's just, so it does help the transition for me too to go back into that mode, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And so was there, and you mentioned this, and I kind of wanted to touch on it. You talked about how especially after the first time when you started hearing these channeled messages, you doubted it. You wondered if it was real. And right. I think, and myself as a channel, I still do that. I don't know if that's something that you ever fully get over. And right. What is it for you that had you say, okay, yes, I can trust this. This is real?
Well, the things that helped me to trust it the most were the things that look the weirdest to everybody else. So everybody looks at me initially and goes, what is all that? Like, what are those hand movements? None of it's me. It's all them. They initially, I say, okay, I'm going to channel. My hands go up like this. It's automatic. I don't tell my arms or fingers to do that. So the way that my thumb and finger created a mudra, which a yoga teacher friend told me that's a mudra, and I didn't know what they were. So all these, and the tones and the way that light language started coming through me, all those things that were completely unintentional. All of this was unintentional. At 37, I didn't think, I'm going to start channeling now. I didn't think it was in the cards for me at all, but it started to happen. And because of all of that, I know something is happening. I know that I get visions in my head too that turn out to be true. And when I tell other people about them, when I was channeling, I saw this, and they're like, oh my gosh, that's exactly, what I used to do, or what I was thinking about, or something. So there's lots of confirmation that's happened over the years, but that doesn't mean that I think that I'm such a pure channel that I can just say with 100% certainty that everything is totally accurate that comes through, because all of us have a filter. And that's the way it is, no matter how deep in trance you are when you're channeling. So we as channelers are constantly having to be on ourselves, to be vigilant about taking care of ourselves. And that includes our minds and our emotions and our relationships and everything, so that we can be as pure and not influenced by the zeitgeist, not influenced by, oh, okay, so everybody's talking about the solar flash now, so I better get on board with that or something, whatever it is, it's always something. There's always something that it seems like the spiritual community is excited about. It was Bitcoin for a while, it was crypto. It was like it's Nasara, Gasara, like the things that everybody gets excited about, and jumping on that bandwagon. You see yourself jumping on a bandwagon, then you're influenced more by what's going on out there and what everybody's talking about, then you are accessing your guides, the beings you're working with, and those truths, which should always be about getting people to recognize who they really are and what they're really capable of, and how to forgive and how to love and how to do the hard work, of being human, and not just about everything that's out there, that's going on out there, that we can just sit back and go, okay, I'm waiting for the event now. I'm waiting for, the promise of Saint Germain that money is coming for everybody, or whatever it is that's being promised to New Agers. That is another thing for people to focus on outside of themselves. So the important thing with channeling is always, does it make you feel good? Does it resonate? Is it helpful? Did you get things that are applicable to your life, or did they just tell you what's going to happen and when, and basically you don't have to do anything? The onus is off of you completely as the receiver of that channeling, other than to go back to that same channel again and try to get more information about what's going to happen next. That's not the type of relationship we want to have with these beings. And it is a co-creation. So the person asking the question can bring through something really wonderful, or they can stay stuck in their heads and continue to ask questions about, when's this going to happen? Is this ever going to happen? Things that have nothing to do with how they can change and how they can become their higher selves, essentially.
Yeah, great. And I think too, with practice, anything that you practice regularly improves, and you get better and deeper, and then you can trust more. It tends to be the way it goes. So another question about that, a lot of people, when you bring up channeling or talk about, learning to channel, they get concerned that, well, what if what comes to me is not pure or not of the light or not good? How will I know, and how will I protect myself from that? And so what are your views on that?
Well, I know a lot of people talk about protection, and they have these elaborate rituals to protect themselves. And I was just weaned in a way on channeling where no one ever taught me to fear anything. No one ever said to me, watch out for the dark ones. You better protect yourself. There's the negative entities. And so I went into it completely naive to all those stuff. I mean, I was a huge Abraham Hicks follower at the time. And I remember Esther's story, or Abraham's story, about when Esther worked with this client, and the client did get some attachments, some negative attachments, and Abraham spoke directly to these entities or attachments, and said, hey, look, you guys better make hay while the sun shines, because the only reason you got in there is because she lowered her vibration, this woman that was working with Esther one-on-one, and she's going to raise her vibration because we're going to teach her how to do that. And then you're not going to have access to her anymore. And they were like, yeah, we know. And so that was the one story I knew of when it comes to all of that. And the truth is, I think that you're never safer than when you're channeling if you're doing it the right way, which is to raise your vibration. If you think about the beings you're channeling being up here, and you typically are vibrating down here in the fourth dimension, let's say you're reaching for the ninth dimensional whoever's. So you've got to raise your vibration. You got to get closer to them, and they'll come and meet you somewhere so that the transmission can occur, and so that you can absorb what it is that they're offering to you. But if you just insist on staying down here and channeling, then yeah, maybe you're opening yourself up by playing with a Ouija board, a pendulum, runes, whatever, whatever your thing is, where you're just saying, well, I'm just going to use this tool to connect, but I'm not going to do anything. Again, back to what I was saying before, I'm not going to do anything to myself to change myself and change how it is that I'm opening up to access higher vibrational beings and higher frequency energies. And you can also set that intention and speak it out loud that, this is what I want to connect to. And then there are certain red flags that if it were a lower frequency entity, they would be likely to build up your ego. They would be likely to tell you how great you are, how important you are, how you have this mission to save humanity, and all that sort of stuff. They're going to play a con man type of role in your life. And they're also probably going to tell you a lot of what to do, do this, do this, do this, and not give you teachings, and not be about, hey, you really ought to talk to your mom who you haven't spoken to in 6 months because you guys had that fight over whatever, things that we really need to do in order to grow spiritually. That's what you're going to get from a higher frequency entity or collective consciousness. And from the lower, you're just going to get, kind of like stuff that may be helpful to you having a better life, and then that may boost a person's trust, but really they should be giving you teachings. They should be telling you how to be a better person.
Yeah, I'm really glad you presenced that. I have known several people throughout the years that have been told by their channel, their entity, whatever, that they're talking to, that they're the savior, they're the one, they're,
the one true,
the one.
What is it? The one true twin flame of Yeshua, or
Yes,
your Archangel
yes.
Michael in the flesh. There's you're 100% Archangel Michael.
Yes, I've heard this a lot. It's like a common story. I mean, they're independent of each other, but this idea that, well, I've been told I'm the one, I'm the only one, and I have this huge mission, and it's very ego bolstering. Like, and you referenced that. So I love that you said that's a red flag. If you're interacting with some being that's saying you're the one and only one, you have this huge mission, you're very special and unique. And I mean, we're all special in our own way, but above everybody else.
Exactly.
That's a red flag.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Even if they're telling you about the hierarchy where they are and how great they are and things, because I've never gotten that from any of the beings I've ever channeled, that like they have any type of ego about who they are, or how special they are because they exist in this higher exalted realm. I've never gotten that from them.
Yeah, something I also have noticed in my own channeling is that there is always this reverence for all of humanity. And it's not, when I'm channeling, I feel their reverence for me, but it's not personal to me. It's not like, oh, you're so great, Waxela. It's that we revere humanity and what you're doing and your mission, and it's a mutual reverence. And I can feel that, like, I revere the beings that are coming through, and there's a reverence for me. It's just this beautiful mutual like really purity and softness, but it's never, you are the one that has to do this, to save the world.
Right, right. And I did come across someone who got involved with a negative entity, and it was, they came to me for help, and it was because of use of a pendulum, and it
Mhm.
was that they were told, a pendulum and a dictionary, and they were told, you are, the savior, kind of special ones. It
Yeah.
was a couple, actually. Yeah. So I've actually seen that and can speak to it from experience too.
Yeah, yeah. Pendulums, Ouija boards, and tarot cards all seem to have, not that they're inherently bad, I'm not saying that,
No.
but they can sort of open something up there. So yeah, things to be
Yeah.
aware of. And there is something about going direct from your center, from your own source to source, and taking out that middle, that whatever the tools
Cool.
that
Yeah.
are outside of ourselves, that I feel like is more pure. It can be more pure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And people definitely make, they make a lot of connections through DMT,
Mm.
ayahuasca, the frog one, like all those different things too. But it's not, I'll never recommend that you do that, because even though I've heard, tremendous stories about people and what they've gotten, because I know that you ultimately don't want to have to rely on something like that. And it's so much better to show yourself that you can be in your body, and you can be of your right mind, and you can have no puking and no side effects, or anything like that, from just going deep within yourself and tuning into what's available.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I love that. And nothing against plant medicine either. It can be a
No.
door opener. And yes, we don't ever want to have to rely on that to open those doors. So I appreciate that you presence that as well. And so what we're going to do here next is I'm going to invite you to bring in the creators and do some channeling so that we can witness that. And then after that, we have a really special offer of a course that you're opening up, that's a live course that I'm really excited for people to hear about and to share. So if you're ready, I will just mute myself and
Okay.
you can go ahead and begin.
Okay. Yes. 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 here for you. We are the creators. We are a 12th dimensional collective of non-physical beings, and we are here to help. We know that many of you are excited about this new year that you find yourselves in, and we know that there has been a lot of talk about how the year 2023 is really about opening a window to full ET contact for humanity. ET contact that is open, available to everyone, and very physical. In other words, ships landing. And certainly you've had ships landing there on Earth for quite some time, and you've had quite a few humans interacting with ETs on a fairly regular basis. Now, you also have those of you who tune in to extraterrestrial consciousness and bring it through telepathically. You channel it, or you have your own type of relationship with an ET guide or a member of your galactic team or some other group that you've been able to tune into yourself. And we want you all to know that you are helping to bring forth the time when humanity officially enters the galactic community through your interest in extraterrestrial contact, through all of the ways in which you've endeavored to make that contact every time you have looked up at the night sky in hopes of seeing a UFO. Every time that you have set aside some time in your day to connect and have opened yourself up to extraterrestrial contact, you are sending out that signal to the entire galaxy that humanity is ready and that enough of you are interested in contact to help with it, because you will be the ones who help to normalize the experience for other humans. You will be the ambassadors who show others that connecting with ETs is safe and it is enlightening, and they have a lot to share with all of you. So we see that as a big part of this window of opportunity for all of you in the year 2023. We also know that more and more people continue to connect to universal forces and energies in other ways, that more people than ever before there on Earth are creating consciously the reality that they want to experience. And we know that the new energies coming forth will always be supportive in helping you to find that reality, to find that vibration that you want to be living in. And it is also a great time for all of you to be opening up to light language, to channeling, to speaking with your guides and expecting to get some kind of answer from them. There is a thinning of the veil that is occurring, and that is why you are seeing so many more accounts than ever before of ET contact and of people being able to tap into a higher consciousness and bring it through themselves and share it with the rest of humanity. And certainly, the more of you who are normalizing those experiences, the easier it then becomes for people to seek them out and to share them when they have their own experiences, because a lot of people do still fear what others will think about them or say about them, or will they lose their job or get committed if they talk about their spiritual experiences. And so you all need to normalize those experiences for each other by creating your videos, by doing your posting on social media, having your website, having your blog, getting your story out there so that others can see, oh, this is something that happens to people. It didn't just happen to me. It happened to this person over here whose blog post I just read. And so helping each other to feel more connected and feel that everyone's experiences are valid. That's a big part of how you come together as a community of those who are awake there on Earth. And you really are a community. You are a collective. There are only so many of you right now who know who you really are. And that is our definition of what it means to be awake. You have to know that you are source. You have to know that everyone else and everything else is source as well in order to be awake. And as you operate from that knowing, as you start to live your life with the knowing of who you really are and who everyone else really is, your life begins to change in magical ways, in ways that you couldn't have possibly even imagined with your limited physical mind, because the energy you put out will be the energy that you get back. And if you are treating everyone as a divine being and treating yourself that way as well, you will experience a much different world than those who are running around still feeling disconnected and very much in their ego. So you are there to lead, you are there to show people the way, show them how it's done. And also by sharing your wisdom and the examples from your own lives of what you've experienced, you are there to normalize these spiritual awakening experiences that everyone is going to have. Everyone has a plan for themselves in terms of when they're going to wake up and how they're going to wake up. And so that will be something that you can still help them with, even if they have an experience that was planned prior to their birth. They may still need that helping hand to tell them, yes, this is something I've experienced as well. Yes, this is normal. A lot of people are experiencing this right now. And here's what you can do. Here's how you can work with this energy or this consciousness that you've come across. Or here's what this means when you see that or experience that in your dream state or in your waking state. So there's a lot for all of you to do there in 2023 on Earth, and a lot more experiences coming, a lot more for you to open yourselves up to. And so it's a very exciting time for all of you and for all of us in the higher realms who want so much to have more ground crew members there on Earth who are showing people the way, showing people the truth of who they are and how to access that. Very good. That is what we have to say. We are the creators and we love you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
I can hear you.
Oh, good. The last two times, everyone knows the last two times we did this, the sound went away after the channeling and the interview ended. So yay, it works. That was great. Thank you for bringing that through. I love that more ET contact, which I know a lot of people are going to be really excited about. And yeah, that message of, just going with light language and channeling and opening up and normalizing awakening. I really love that.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
definitely getting out there. I keep finding more and more videos of people talking about their experiences, and it's amazing to see them coming forth after decades of not talking about their near-death experience or something, and now they're able to share it with a huge audience on YouTube.
Yeah, there's a lot. I'm seeing so much more of that as well, and there's something about those experiences that just really awaken people. So it's like this, the veil. Also, they said the veil is thinning, and that's what's causing the awakenings and the contact and all of that. So So it's an exciting year for so many people. And so on that note, with no further ado, I want to let people know about this amazing class that you have put together that's going to be coming up beginning, I think you said February 6th. So it's kind of right around the corner. And this is a live learning with you where, so, some people do okay learning online. Some people really need to be live to learn things, and they get to be with you in a class setting where you're teaching live for 2-hour segments for, did you say 9 segments?
There's 9 classes, so it's 18 hours in total, the
18
course.
hours. So go ahead and tell us about it.
Okay, well, we all meet on Zoom, which means everybody in the first hour can ask whatever questions they want to ask. And, you can have your camera on or off if you want more privacy. And if your camera's off, you just type in your questions, or your camera's on, you can raise your hand and I'll call on you. But I always have something prepared for every class to talk about. So there's 9 of the class sessions, and by the time we are on the 4th class, we're talking about channeling your higher self, and then spirit guides and ascended masters the next class, and then archangels and fairies and unicorns and all of that, and then ETs. I do the ET channeling last. So yeah, different topic is covered every class. I separate them out by about 30 days. It's not exactly 30 because of my calendar being what it is. But it gives people plenty of time to practice what they learn in the previous class. So then the next class, they're building on that, and they'll have questions to ask about what it was they experienced during their practice session. And then the other idea behind the course is to get the people in the course to come together and practice with each other. So I set up a private Facebook group just for the course members to join, and then they can interact and set up times with each other to practice. Because like you pointed out earlier, it is all about practice. Even after you break through, even after you start getting something, then you've got to keep going with it and take it to the next level and next level. Like initially, a lot of people will just be bringing through things that are rather basic and known to most New Agers, the type of wisdom that, you create your reality and your source, and it's all about love, and all of that will be what comes through. And then when you stick with it, when you get past the doubt that says, oh, I already knew that, everybody already knows that, you got to get past that to eventually get to that point where you're actually able to bring through teachings that feel like they're unique to you and what you're channeling, and also information about the current energies and what's going on. And all of that can start to come through after a person gets through that initial time when they don't feel like it's, that it's very easy to get into judgment of your own channeling, especially early on, when it's probably not going to be the new emerald tablets or, commandments 11 through 20 or anything like that is completely like earth shattering and mind blowing.
Yeah. So, and I love all that. And I think having the practice group and community on Facebook is great too, because it's always nice to have other people to bounce ideas off of and ask questions to. And then, one of the questions is, so I'm sure there are people listening who have never channeled before. There are people who have done some channeling, but want to get better at it. And there are people that have done a lot of channeling who are maybe, at a higher level. Who is this class most appropriate for?
Everyone. And I can say that because it's not the first time I've offered the course, and I've had people of all different levels in there, and they all benefit from it. They all stick with it, and they all have things like you and I were talking about earlier, where no matter how long you've been channeling for, you still have doubts, you still there's still a next level to go to. And but I start at the very beginning with the basic, like, this is what I would teach you in my beginners channeling class, and all of that is in the first 2 hours. And then we build, we eventually get to, I go from that to, here's how to tone, and here's what toning is about, and how it can help. And then the next class, light language. So we build up to actually channeling beings. And I do think that there's something for everyone in it, because whether you're honing it or doing it for the first time, you're coming with some sort of need to improve, or you wouldn't be interested in taking the course in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also love that there's light language in there. So do your students start speaking light language? Is that
I've had
common?
so much success teaching people and having them speak light language. And I don't know why that is. I think it's really a time, I think, that we're in where light language is just so available to people. But yeah, I've seen people speak light language for the first time so many times in the various courses I've taught.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. And so I'm kind of feeling into like the questions that people are asking that they're going to be watching this. And one of the things that I oftentimes get is, for some people are not interested in channeling. That's okay. This isn't for you if you're not interested in channeling. We're not telling you you need to be or you have to be. But for anyone who has just kind of thought about it, or thought it might be fun, or thought, oh, I thought that was just for special people that had some sort of special ability or special gifts. For those people that ask that, is there any prerequisite in order to sign up for your course other than just interest?
No, I would say that actually everybody's channeling all the time. It's just a question of, what are you channeling? I think we're walking around as these tuning forks, and our brains are like these receivers. They're like radios, really. And we're not tuning ourselves consciously for the most part. I mean, you may be doing that and still have not yet channeled, but there's a way to tune your dial to the frequency that you want more of. And that's really what we're doing when we say we're channeling, is that we're doing it intentionally, and we're setting the dial to something that we want to be on the same wavelength as. But if you're just walking around all day, I think you're channeling what your parents told you, your teachers told you, what society's telling you, the advertising you just saw. So much is coming into our consciousness, bombarding us all the time, that we are then sort of coming to believe and take in as our truth, and living accordingly. And it's I think that thoughts don't originate in our heads. I think that thoughts exist, and we become a match to a certain thought. And so then it feels like we have no control over what thought we're thinking, because we just happen to be on that same frequency as that thought. And so channeling is really about doing something on purpose to get the higher frequency information, energies, and streams of consciousness coming into your receiver, instead of just what happens to be floating around. Like, you walk into a room and there was something going on in that room, and now you're affected by it because you're channeling that energy, just because you're, because of the happenstance of you walking into that room.
Yeah.
So it's about being much more intentional about what we channel. That's what really we're talking about.
Yeah, I love that, because we are inundated with frequencies and radio waves and EMF, and who knows what all is floating around around us. And we can pick up things that are of lower frequency if we're not intentional. So I really do love that you bring that intention in, and then learning how to connect with the higher frequencies. We can all do that. And yeah, so for anyone that's interested in growing your understanding of channeling, I'd highly recommend working with Daniel and taking his live course. And so just so everyone knows, the cost of the course is $488.88. And just for the Alchemy of Ascension audience, he's offering a special of $100 off when you use the coupon code 100. So can you say what, for those that are just listening, maybe on podcast and don't have the link to click, I'll put it in the show notes for YouTube, but what is the URL?
It's danielscranton.com/mega. So MEGA. I call it my Learned Channel Mega course because I have offered other classes and courses prior to this one, and this is by far the biggest one, and the longest one, and the most interactive one. So that's why I chose the name Mega. Yeah, and just so people know, it's the number 100 is what you enter in at checkout after you've gone to that URL and you put it in your cart, and then that'll automatically take you to the checkout page where it asks you if you have a coupon code. There's like a little text box that asks you, and you just type in 100, click apply, and you'll see the $100 be taken off before you complete the checkout.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that, and for, blessing all of my listeners and viewers with that. And so one more time, it's danielscranton.com/mega, MEGA. And then coupon code is 100 for $100 off. Yeah. Right. So I just appreciate that so much. I appreciate you coming back and sharing the channeling and your knowledge about channeling with us. And is there anything else you'd like to share before we close?
Oh, I hope that I get to meet up with many of you on Zoom and do this, because it has become my favorite thing to do, to teach channeling. It's so much fun to get to interact with people as Daniel, as opposed to doing all the channeling all the time myself, and to see what other people are going to bring through, because I'm a fan of channeling too, and I like to see what other people are going to bring through. So it's very exciting for me to have the opportunity to do it, and I really hope to see a lot of people there.
Yeah, I have a feeling you will. And that's when you're doing the right work, when you absolutely love showing up for your work and being with the people that you work with, and that's just expanding your heart. So I'm grateful that you found that and that you're offering this to everybody. Thank you so much for all that you do and all that you are, Daniel. Thank you to all who are listening. I appreciate you, and I'll be sure to have the links in the show notes. And I hope that if this speaks to you, you'll sign up and join Daniel in his live mega class. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you, Waxela.
Namaste.
Namaste.